Yeah. All right, thank you. I will call this meeting to order. Call.
Yeah, they're voting.
Name in here. Hugh Guerrero here. Nathan Woodrow here. We do not have a representative from Barry. That's the only time in Rutland. But Rutland, we're in Rutland, so I guess we'll be all right. MOU contract discussion with legal counsel. I know we have attorney David Jenkins here to lead this conversation, so I will pass it to Mike for introductions and then to attorney Jenkins for what he's here to do. So thank you very much for attending, sir.
Thank you for having me.
So myself and David, we briefly talked about what it would take to establish a MOU between the current union employees with the town of Rutland and the district. We got into bigger conversation where David has some ideas and some suggestions that we should follow moving forward with this whole transition process. So I'll let David move on from there.
For the good of the order, can you state what firm Mr. Jenkins is from?
KP Law.
KP Law.
My apologies.
Yeah, and thanks. By way of introduction, I am in the Labor and Employment Practice Group at KP Law, and I've been Rutland's Employment Counsel since about 2000, and have worked with Michael in the past on not a lot of issues, but some employment issues. So, and I apologize if this is a little disjointed. I have a new laptop, obviously, that I'll need a teenager to figure out. So I'm on my phone, and you folks are jumping around a little bit, so I'll do my best. So the task that I was given was to prepare a memorandum of understanding or a memorandum of agreement between the town of Rutland and the newly created district, in which the town of Rutland would agree that the district would continue to use its current employees, that those employees would stay and remain as employees of the town of Rutland, and that there would be a transition of those employees that the district wanted on June 30th, 2026. So Michael and I had an initial conversation about that, and I asked Michael whether all employees were going to remain with the town, and specifically whether or not he and the assistant director were going to be employees of the town or employees of the district. So as part of that conversation, I asked Michael whether or not the district had a tax identification number and whether or not the district had made provisions for group health insurance and for participation in the retirement plan. And my recollection is that Michael said no, that he didn't have that information, and that so far as he knew, no provisions had been made for placement of group health insurance, et cetera, effective July 1, 2025. I also think that the district didn't have a budget at that point. So I told Michael that I thought that the creation of a MOA would not be a difficult task, but the question that would have to be asked is what was his status and what was the status of the assistant director? Would those two positions remain with the town of Rutland, and how specifically would the district want to handle that transition? So that led to us trying to schedule this meeting
It's
today.
Right.
And we'll figure it out over the next year, but I think what we'd have to keep you guys is at least on paper employees under this MOU. Because any other way, you'd kind of be in the wind
Right.
Right.
until we figure it out.
Yeah, and I suggest, and that makes perfect sense from the legal point of view, and
Yeah.
that's what I would have recommended. I think at some point, if you haven't done it already, the district could take a vote authorizing Michael to act as um, district director under the terms of the municipal agreement that all the towns signed, so that it would be, no, there'd be no question that he had authority as the district director, but that, for all bookkeeping purposes, he and the assistant director remain as employees of the town.
That seems to be the only way, unless we want to really move very, very quickly.
Which means if we could figure out health insurance and stuff, it could speed up the timeline, but right now we just haven't even thought about it.
Right.
Taking Rutland up on their generosity is going to be our best bet.
Yeah, no, agreed.
And my assumption with that is that the agreement between Rutland and the other participating communities will stay in place, and that those communities will all have their proportional share of the costs, right, Michael?
That's correct, yeah.
And that would be obviously based off of our last year's numbers. So
Correct, yeah.
Well, that's good, Michael. Now at least you have health insurance.
Yes.
what do you need from us? Like a motion to instruct Mr. Jenkins to draft an MOU to be presented to the towns, or do we vote on the MOU?
It's a good question. Dave?
Yeah,
David?
I would suggest that if you have a quorum of the district members, that the motion be to authorize, well, I'm counsel for the town, so you're not authorizing me to do anything. So I don't need a vote. I personally don't need a vote. I can do an MOU. When do you folks meet again?
Whenever your MOU is done.
Say that again, Michael?
Whenever the MOU is completed, we'll meet again. So we meet as needed right now.
Okay, so just give me a couple of weeks.
Okay.
I'll send
Now,
it to,
Attorney Jenkins, will this MOU stop us from, when the director and deputy director are ready, entering into an employment contract with them?
it would not.
It would not? Okay.
Do you anticipate that that would take place before June 30th, 2026?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I will include in there sort of an opt-out provision that the two positions would stay into the town, stay as part of the town until such time as the district votes them to assume their duties as employees of the district.
So that would mean that we would have to figure out some of the health insurance and retiree stuff before entering into contract. All right.
You have a time frame.
Yep.
There's our time frame.
Yep.
We have about a year to do it.
Right,
Can there be some sort of provision in the MOU that buys more time with Rutland approval? Obviously, should we not be able to get there, maybe in 6-month increments?
so would that be beyond June 30th, 2025?
Correct. Yep.
Maybe
Okay.
set it up so that if the district requests it with 60 days left, at the discretion of the Rutland Select Board, the MOU may be extended to X date.
Yeah, typically for extension language, the usual contract would say that any agreement could be extended by the mutual agreement of both parties. So I could put something along those lines in.
Okay,
Perfect.
thank you very much, sir.
And just so that you know, I have been contacted by counsel for the current union. Uh, The current dispatchers are associated with Mass Cops. That represents a lot of police units, as I'm sure you know. Uh, I've told them that uh, the town of Rutland's position is that the CBA continues in full force and effect until June 30th, and that we do not anticipate uh, any changes in the contract. Uh, I would say that, and you guys probably know a lot more about this than I do. The formation of districts for dispatches is relatively common. And I do hear that some unions are asking for enhancements, if I can put it that way, to stay on board during the transition process. So I know that communities like Wayland and Natick are joining a district if they haven't already. And the unions are looking for additional compensation to guarantee that they stay around. But as of right now, it's all status quo.
Okay. So that will.
Sounds like a problem for another day.
Yeah, yeah.
And, yeah,
Yeah, as long as everything's gonna stay status quo, I think we're good with them for now. And then we can worry about these enhancements at a later point when we get closer to transitioning over.
Right. You know, one thing is I don't like surprises, and I'm sure you guys don't either. So there's been no talk of enhancements for this group, but just wanted to raise it so that it would be on your radar.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
I like your use of enhancements.
I think, yeah, typically with other districts too, like other towns are merging, so theoretically those people could be without a job, but where we are forming a district here, none of our people are really at risk of losing their job, like the current CBA. So I think that's the only difference, is that we're just not posted anymore, but we're not leaving to join anywhere else.
If you guys could ensure that it is made clear to the employees that we want them here long term.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only worry they've ever had is like, do I keep my seniority? And we've explained that we are gonna go through a hiring process with these other people and, we're gonna need everybody, so.
How does that work traditionally? Like, I can imagine a situation where someone would lose their seniority.
So it's tough to say because no one else in Massachusetts has gone from posted like we have.
So David, have you had any experience with that?
Yeah, so that would be a matter of negotiation, because what I expect will happen is at some point, a union is going to want to come in and represent the district employees. And at that point, you will be negotiating a new collective bargaining agreement with that new union. So that the district would be the employer, you'd have a new union, and you would negotiate a contract with them. And issues like seniority and how does seniority get carried over, and how are the benefits tied to seniority, all of that will be part of negotiations, because it just jumps out at me. So for example, you may have employees with a number of years seniority that qualify for more vacation time than a new employee. And I would expect that those more senior employees are going to want to carry that seniority into the district. But you'll be negotiating that.
So if this union here negotiates with the district and now forms the new union, and we take on, let's say, 5 communities that have their own unions, how does that work coming into this district? They're gonna obviously have to impact bargain, I believe, is that right?
Well, if you have, say, just for discussion, if you have 5-member communities that are joining the district, the same thing is going to happen in those communities is going to happen in Rutland, that as of June 30th, those employees are going to leave Rutland and go to the district. Now, you'll then negotiate a new contract with a new union. It could be the same union, it could be a different union, you know, depending on who they elect to be their representative. Now, I also don't know whether or not any of the other member communities have agreements in place with any dispatches. I'm suspecting because of the arrangement, they probably don't, but
I
I
think
don't,
they do, they do, yeah.
Do.
yeah.
I'm just asking, because I know this is like our center's concern right now. Could this ever happen where they could try to get an MOU with the town of Rutland to say that, you know, the current 5 towns that we have that we're trying to transition into a district, would there be some wording they could add that says like they are going to be the first starting employees of the district, because everyone additional that we're going to be taking in, we're going to have a total like hiring process. Like we're not having a hiring process with the town of Rutland employees. They're here, but we're going to be interviewing and hiring everybody else.
I'm not sure that Rutland could make that agreement because Rutland can't contract on behalf of the district. So I don't think Rutland could guarantee that employees would become members of the district. I think if you reach that stage, maybe we could talk about a 3-way agreement between Rutland, the district, and the union, which would, you know, cover some of those transition issues. You could do that.
Okay.
At a certain point, I believe we're going to have to figure out how to deal with it on a larger scale. Because even the dispatch unions coming from, let's say, Spencer, if they have their tenured employees are going to want to keep that.
Yeah.
So there may need to be a point where we say, if you are coming from a different union and you are tenured up to X point or Y point or Z point, you will be brought in at step X.
So I know, yeah, I know that, our union or they, you know, our Rutland Free Union, they were talking about having dispatchers keep their steps. All they care about honestly is shift fitting seniority, because all these other towns coming in, they've never worked at a regional center. They're not regional centers. So they feel like we're here, we're forming a union. How are you guys going to take that away from us? So how do we keep our employees and not lose everybody now to go somewhere else? You know, if they're going to have to start over now, what's going to keep them to stay?
Right.
That's what we're facing. And they're fine with having like employees coming in, keep their staff. They just want to keep shift fitting seniority. That's it. Because what someone else makes doesn't affect them.
That's something we'll talk about as
Yeah.
we get closer.
Sounds good.
Should the question, Jim? Okay.
No,
No.
I think that's all I have for that. Dave, do you have anything else for us at all, or?
No, I think you've answered my main question. I just wanted to make sure I got the director or assistant director situation correct. So I can now get to work on that memo and get it to you promptly, I hope.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to join us today, sir. Thank you, Mike, for setting this up. This was very informational.
Okay,
It's a lot of work.
thank you for having
Thank
me.
Thank you, David.
Bye now.
Take care.
Any non-David questions while we're still on that matter that you think should be brought up publicly ahead of anything? I think I'm good.
Myself.
I don't know. Like I said, the only thing that our dispatchers are worried about right now is their seniority. And I heard rumors that people are already looking. So it's hard to guarantee them that they're going to have a spot.
There's so many dispatches.
No, I know, but you know, they have a feel like they are part of the original.
Yeah, no, I can understand and relate to that. I mean, they're
Cool.
original,
Yeah,
you know, so to feel that,
and we're not,
The van
we're not
carry
interviewing, well, at least we weren't planning on interviewing and rehiring the people we already have, but we are interviewing and hiring the recognition employees. So it's like, how do you say we're interviewing and hiring, but they actually don't have seniority over you?
I think we may run into a little bit of a bit of contention when we go to do that, because they are going to have their unions back when coming into this, like, so we may have to see how that plays out. I think that's gonna be an issue when bringing someone in, but, oh, we're gonna rehire your own union, because they have a union too.
Right.
We'll see.
Yeah,
Just let it be known that we want them there and that they're part of this, and, yeah. We're gonna figure it all out.
That's what we've been saying.
In a expedient fashion, like as soon as we can, we look.
And, you know, we did talk about like maybe an incentive on the towns coming inside, like, you know, you signed, like Spencer was the first one to come on board, like maybe we come up with some type of wording that's like first towns to come on board, you know, that's where the seniority is starting with these other additional towns, like the next town to actually agree to come on. Now it's you and Spencer, so we're figuring out seniority that way.
At a certain point, there's gonna need to be a line in the sand. Like, yeah, we can negotiate with all these people.
Right.
Because everyone's gonna be winning. But at a certain point, if you're joining 9 other communities, you're coming on and you're following what we've got going.
Yeah, well, then that's what, like, what we were thinking, like, it'd be much easier if there was already something established, like a contract
Yeah.
established. Because then these new employees coming in, you're part of this contract now, we're not, like, your union is no longer, now you're coming into a contract that's already established.
Any way you could instruct your union steward to look into what other communities have done?
So there's no other, we're the first one in Massachusetts, so the other communities are either formed as a district or are formed as a post, we're the first to go from post to district. So,
What about like a regional animal control unit or a regional, like, there's gotta be something out there. Is your regional fire department?
we heard from that, we've heard rumors about, with different police unions, that they get to keep their seniority, they don't, at least I think, but I don't know if it's exactly the same thing either.
that may be the same, I mean, going into the same.
Right, yeah, we don't know the specifics, I mean, it was just like brief conversation.
See what he's gonna do,
Yeah.
moves forward and. go from
Yep.
there. Anything else on that matter?
It's pages.
There a motion for acceptance of the meeting minutes of May 20th, 2025? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Sounds good. Passes. Good job on these.
Yep.
Succinct and yet detailed. Good job.
Thank you.
Town of Spencer update, Director Moriarty.
Yes, so a few weeks ago, I met with the town of Spencer along with the state 911 special projects administrator Pete Kinnis. We've been dealing with this group transition that's interested in coming into the district. So our first meeting was with Spencer's town select board, which went very well. A lot of questions that either myself, the chiefs, or Peter was able to answer for the select board, which made them comfortable with moving forward with signing the district agreement to bring forward to you guys. As the district agreement states that it has to be an affirmative vote by the supermajority, 2/3 vote, to allow Spencer to come into the district. So that's going to fall on your guys' table for your decision on that. I would just make it contingent on waiting on the other 4 communities, having their select board meetings and seeing where their votes go, because that's going to adjust these estimated assessments. If, let's say, two of the 5 don't join, I'm gonna have to go back and readjust the assessments to make sure that it's still the best option for everybody. So currently right now, Spencer signed on with the intention of all 5 signed. But I do have a signed district agreement from them.
Is there a date in which they anticipate being live with the
So
digital?
we didn't discuss that yet, due to the fact that it still had to be brought to you guys for an acceptance and then move from there. And also, we're still waiting for the other 5 communities to fill, because it's all gonna depend on how, if we get all 5, yes, we're gonna need a great size facility, to actually make this whole project work. If 1 or 2, we can have a smaller facility. Do I want to go smaller? No, because we want to grow. We want to continue to grow, continue to increase the efficiency of emergency services around the
How
district.
long do you think you need to get a better understanding of how many of the 5 or 6 are going to be interested in coming on? Because it's my thought that maybe we wait.
Yeah, so right now, Sturbridge being in August, we're going to meet with them in August, and I believe Auburn is in September. I have not heard from Charlton or Southbridge yet on when they're deciding on bringing it to their board to vote, but they're all on the same page. They're all using the same PowerPoint to present to their select boards with the same information, so,
How would tabling any type of discussion on this matter until the first meeting in October sound?
sounds great.
If there was a.
Yeah, that's fine, and then we'd have a better idea of if it's 1 or 5.
I agree.
And then if there's nobody that signs up, and Spencer has signed up, what is?
So we would have to go back to the table, check on staffing, what their call numbers are going to bring into the current district and see what we're gonna need for staffing on that part. That's gonna be the biggest component of driving the assessments one way or the other, depending on how many people we're going to need. We would have to reassess that, see what the capital items are, which can be covered by the state 911 department. So ultimately, the capital items are not gonna come back to you guys. So that's really, we gotta wait, and then if they do say that, readjust the assessments and see if it's still good for Spencer forward.
So Spencer is aware, like you said, that
Correct.
it's contingent of
Yep.
how many
Yep.
others sign.
Because the evaluation packet that I provided these communities has their estimated assessment with the other 5 on top of that.
So it may change their perspective as well.
Correct, yeah. Currently, right now, their savings would be 52,000. With them being the only community coming in, that number may go down drastically, or may have to pay additional non-save. It all depends. And there's always working with the state 911 department to hopefully, if that was the case, if it was just Spencer, work with the state 911 department and have them increase their state 911 funded to offset and make it more palatable for Spencer to join. Because I doubt a community is gonna want to join the district and pay more than what they're currently paying for a grant budget. So, we definitely have to address that with the state 911 department too.
Just thank them for their interest, let them know we're aiming for a mid-fall
Yep.
decision point. We're working with other communities and that's about it. In the interest of saving everybody as much as possible.
Sure thing.
Mike,
Yes.
with regards to, obviously, Barry and, Rutland, is there going to be any type of, meetings where, we wait for them to get situated in terms of who their representatives will be on?
That's really up to you guys as the district. I can't really speak to that. That's,
Let's see where they are. And if, when we get to October, if they don't have TAs yet, maybe because the select board chair is the alternate member of this body. So if it gets to the point where we, the 3 of us, the 3 communities that are here really want to vote, we'll reach out and say, hey, send your select board chair.
Okay. And Maribel, are you the designee for OCAM? Are you?
Yeah.
So you can vote for OCAM? Any updates in terms of where they are in their process to try to?
the other communities?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we did Spencer, Sturbridge is in August,
Okay.
and Auburn is in September. Southbridge and Charlton is the other one that I have not heard what they're going to present it to their boards yet.
Okay.
But from talking to one of the chiefs that's kind of organizing the group, he did mention that most or not all should be done by the fall.
Okay.
So. Yeah, so I think we just talked about the interested communities update, which was talking about Sturbridge in August. Let's get past that. New facility search. So we're still searching for the best viable solution for our center and the potential growth that we could see. We're exploring every possible option. Right now, that Auburn facility that I did present to everybody at a couple meetings prior back, still on the market, still available. So we're still exploring that option as well as any other options that do come up. I know Southbridge has sent me a couple buildings, so I'm looking at vetting those right now. They don't meet the square footage that I'm looking for. They're
And what is it?
I'm roughly 15,000 or more.
15,000.
Yeah.
Was there a point where that was different? Because I believe, I don't know if it was my fire chief or police chief, yeah. Like, did that fall off the table for a little while?
It did.
Okay.
So there was a couple offers placed on the building, which were rejected by the owner building. Yeah. And have since building still on the market now. I believe those offers came in low, and that's why it was rejected. So we're looking into that, looking to try to get a structured agreement with contingencies being the district can pull out at any point if state funding is not available, and just wipe our hands clean of the whole entire process and not be liable for anything. So that's what the list of nations looking at right now that I'm working with. We're looking at the two buildings in Southbridge, and then any other community that does suggest any property that can be utilized will be looked at, but
You can always take a look at where the tower's at.
the what?
You can always take a look at where the tower's at.
Yeah, it's just the unfortunate thing is the state 911 department will purchase and renovate a building prior to building anything. So if our district is 10 or 11 communities, they're gonna want us to vet every single property within the 10 or 11 communities before they'll say, yes, go ahead and build brand new. That's kind of their process. So we're gonna,
Makes sense.
yeah. So we're doing our best to look at every single piece of property and find the best solution for our team to move forward.
And this is probably a silly question, but the Auburn building, that's also contingent on Auburn doing or wouldn't matter? I'm just,
And technically, it
like,
doesn't
if we,
matter, but
I'm
the
just wondering.
district could move to wherever they please.
Yeah, whether they run them out.
Yeah, whether or not they do or not, but. That,
Mike, with regards to the new facility, you say, for example, if Auburn was selected, I'm not saying it would be, but if it was selected as a site for a facility, do you anticipate your current staff having issues with relocating their offices to Auburn? And would you anticipate losing any staff because of that?
yeah, so that's a good question. And, yeah, I think, we've already heard some rumblings within the department that if we go to Auburn, we may lose a couple people because they don't want to drive that distance. We can only do the best that we can do. Would I love to draw a building here in Rutland, Hubbardston, or wherever? Of course. But our hands are kind of tied when it comes to that decision. We have to utilize what we have. So, unfortunately, with the employees, there's not much I can do to make that better. You know what I mean?
Where do most of your employees come from? Are they from the Rutland area or?
Rutland, Worcester, Brookfield,
Our senior people are like
Hubbardston,
Hubbardston, Templeton, Rutland.
and myself, Fitchburg.
Mhm.
I know it's gonna increase my commute time
Mhm.
drastically, but
It would just be different.
yeah,
Probably not.
290 traffic. So, yeah, that's not, yeah.
It's a less beautiful, right?
Yeah, you got that.
Nice back road.
Have you looked at, of of the current district and then the potential models in terms of where potentially communities may sign on to us. And did like a, you know, like a center point to that area where it would like land?
Yeah, we haven't really looked at the central point. Definitely could look at that.
You know, in terms of, you know, all potential, you know, people that, you know, communities you're looking to get on the current district model and then the central point. And then, you know, that may be a selling model to your current staff saying, hey, look at, you know, we're gonna be looking somewhere in this general area, centrally located within the new district, you know, just to give some people, so there's not a mass exodus of people that you're gonna be looking to then try to fill positions.
Yeah, and yeah, I can definitely put that together.
Should we, as a group, or maybe you guys, meet with a representative of the union to clarify some of these situations ahead of any of this? Like,
Which I believe we have
Yeah.
multiple times.
it's hard.
It's tough, you know, and yeah, you know, living in Harvard or Town, having to now drive an extra 20-30 minutes, I get it. It's not-
We tell them we don't know, there's nothing set in
Yeah.
stone, but I think that's, you know, the not knowing is what's causing like the uneasiness. Like they're already, like I said, worried about, should I just find another job? Cause I'm not gonna have any seniority. Now I have to direct to off, like theoretically. So it's,
Let them know that it's going to be completely dependent on how many other people join.
Mhm.
And we don't know yet.
Right. Yeah.
Right now, we're looking to enter an MOU with the town of Rutland that
Right.
would essentially lock them into their job
Yeah.
for at least 1 year,
Mhm.
if not more than that.
Yes.
So that's the most kind of assurance we can give them at this time.
Yeah.
We understand, like you guys do, we do, it's tough.
Mhm.
Like, that's not what anybody wants. Like, I would hate that looming over me as well,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, that's where things are at this time.
Yeah, we have well, we're gonna be putting a department meeting, like scheduling it soon, so these are things we can bring up when they have a union meeting, what they need to do, like obviously we're not there. So if we bring stuff like this up, then we can discuss it in their union meeting.
Is there a potential where there could be a site A and a site B, in terms of depending on who works out in, you know, the district where you can use your current location and then have a site B somewhere else?
Are you owning like 2 buildings?
Well, yeah, like,
Well, that's gonna,
What's
then come
Rutland's
back.
intention with the space that you're in right now to make it better?
They've already,
They're,
we
they
don't
don't have space for their departments right now, so.
they're waiting for that day.
so they want the space back, is that what you're saying?
Yes, because currently we pay a portion of the space that we,
You pay rent,
yes, ultimately, in the current budget that we're,
and they don't want to be a landlord anymore, they want the space back.
they need the space. Both departments are,
The police and fire don't have space.
Yeah. as people without,
They're already.
people in administrative, roles,
Right.
they're not in an office, they're in basically common areas, so. Yeah, they're looking for office space, so, but to have 2 facilities, in A and B, that could happen. It's not out of the picture, but again, that's the district having to now pay services for 2 buildings and keep 2 buildings.
Well, no, I was just saying that if you were able to keep your current,
Staff
yeah,
here.
staff here and then,
Yeah,
depending on if you got a lot of, people that wanted to sign on in Auburn, Southbridge, Sturbridge area, that maybe you could find a site B over there.
I think unfortunately, due to the amount of communities that are interested in coming in and what that's going to do with, call volume, it's going to change our, operations drastically, the
Mhm.
way we handle calls. The whole model has to change to be able to handle the call volume that's expected to come in. So to have an A and B would be very tough, to make that work with that kind of model change. And if we were to stay,
There is keeping location type of discussions close to best as the director for the time being.
Good.
I mean, we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we discussed that too, instead of getting everyone,
Yeah.
fearful. We're trying to be open because, when
And
other towns put it out, they're like, oh, we're signing on, so we're trying to be like transparent, but at the same time, it's like, hey, Auburn's on the table, just kidding, no, it's not, oh, maybe it is, so we're trying to,
we don't want them to find out from someone else.
Yeah.
Keep them.
but I think it would help.
But it's, yeah, you're looking at them, it's like a double-edged sword. Do you tell them or do you not tell them? Are they gonna get mad that you didn't tell them or mad that you did tell them? You know what I mean? So it's kind of, yeah, it's a tough situation with. Sure. So we're trying to,
It's hard to.
yeah,
Yeah, I would definitely look at a map and look at the potential communities and try to find central locations, within there. And try to make it as fair as possible, if that's even
yeah,
possible.
Because the same concerns that the Rutland employees have, Southbridge, Auburn, they
They're
might
gonna
have the
have
same,
the same
they're gonna wanna, oh, I want a 30-minute additional commute, it's not, we're not gonna please anyone.
Other communities are certainly hiring dispatchers.
right.
Mhm.
And then as soon as the district is formed, we move to a new building. That would say, bring in another 5 now. Do we move operations to make it easier for those 5? It's.
And depending on what the pay and where the station is, we may get interested parties from other dispatch centers
Yep.
in that area.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, if you get a buck for going the next town over, that's a no-brainer.
Yep. Yeah, and I think currently right now we're looking at hiring. With that proposal that we put together, an additional 30 personnel. And out of the 5 communities, there's 40 personnel currently right now. So out of the 5 communities, 10 people, 10 possibly more, depending if we find 30 qualified candidates to come over. Roughly 10 that will ultimately be on your own at that point. But there's still those 10 additional employees that.
And that's assuming,
If
Maybe all
that they don't want to.
They all wash and people make different decisions and it
Yep.
ends up being perfect
Correct.
Yeah,
for everybody, for
Yeah.
them and their commutes, for the district.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that moving forward, the district has to just do, what is best for the district, keeping all those variables in mind, but unfortunately, there's no way of making it perfect for each one of the employees, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree.
Just be nice to them.
Yeah.
And handle it with kid gloves. It's a tough
Yeah.
situation.
Anything more on that? No? Next up, operations board meeting, we're having, our second board meeting tomorrow, which will hopefully be able to elect our board officers for that board. The previous one, we didn't have,
Enough attention.
enough attendees at that meeting. They didn't know the importance of how important that meeting was, so.
Is that the police and fire chiefs?
Yeah,
One?
so we made that clear for this meeting, so that this is what was gonna happen, so attendance is key for this one, so. Yeah.
Well, we got one on vacation and one out injured. That's fine.
They can join in. Yeah.
Tim is on vacation, but I will remind him if he has availability to just jump on Zoom.
Okay,
He do.
yeah,
I think, man, I know he wants that.
yeah.
I would think so, but
Yeah, I just
I don't know.
don't know
I don't know
either.
anything about any of that.
Yeah, not sure which one of them is gonna
Yeah.
grab that.
There is anyone that be qualified and.
Yeah, they're all, yeah. Financial board discussion, so the district is outlining that the chief financial officer and the chief administrative officer in each participating community is the member, so also states that each community appoints 2 representatives. Are you guys able to, should I send out an email to you guys requesting those 2 representatives so I can put together an email chain for them? So when we start moving forward with the district budget, I can start reaching out to them that way. So reach
Some of your suggestions is sweet, just anybody,
so either town accountant, town treasurer,
I laugh because we're just so, we don't have a treasurer. We have a firm for an accountant, so that's
We're looking for two, at least in my case, I can't speak for everyone, it may need to be our treasurer collector and maybe a member of the finance committee.
Yep.
I don't necessarily have two
Sure.
directly involved financial employees.
gotcha. That should be fine as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you don't have two, one is fine as well. It says you can have up to two, so
2 per community.
yeah, two per community.
Yep.
So I'll send out an email requesting the names,
And where would this board meet?
either here or any other location that we can meet. So we can have roaming meetings, so it's not always here, as long as people have facilities to.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be fair, because it would be, it would be difficult for me to find people that would be willing to
Yep.
come out here.
And it's no always be an option
Yes,
too.
this will always be an option.
Okay.
So,
Can you state that in the email that like Zoom
Yes.
is an option?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
And that it will be possibly rotated as far as warrant, just so.
does OCAM have the space available to be?
Yeah.
So everybody does?
Yes.
speaking of rotating, I have no problem if our next meeting of our board is in Warren, just to make it fair. I think it doesn't need to be put in all the miles.
Right, no, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that's fair. We rotate it around, yeah.
Right, together.
Sure.
Fine, so I'll send that email. Now, FY 27 budget guidance. So just looking for guidance on your priorities.
Congratulations on being the first person on July 8th to mention FY 27.
Be ahead of
I've been trying to stay away from that word.
Yeah.
Just trying to take a breather.
Want to be able to get everything together in a timely fashion, especially when I have to meet with multiple boards now.
It would be fair to set our budget guidance once we have our financial board in place.
And would you guys like to meet with the financial board first before setting those goals? I think that,
Probably, that'd be a good situation. We can bring them into the loop on, hey, there's a lot of variables here. Like for now, we kind of have to treat it as not much has changed, but there's a chance that everything changes.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of variables in this.
so I'll schedule a joint meeting.
And then we
Let them have their meeting. Should it be their first meeting or yeah?
I say let them have their first meeting and then maybe like a introduction between all meetings.
Okay.
And all of those type of people are busy, really, really busy
Right.
right now with their main jobs.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Trust your scheduling of that.
Yeah.
Initiative.
No open discussion. Do you have anything else?
Congratulations on your name change. You guys have been doing a fantastic job so far. I know it's weird and I'm sure people are giving you a little bit of back but you guys are doing a great job. All I'm hearing is positive.
And the merch is great,
Yeah.
I'm like, when is it, they're gonna be in the merch, so I can rock it. I love supporting and displaying merch.
Some shirts. too.
Actually, that's hot race.
T-shirt, you give it to me, I'll wear it.
Perfect.
As I stated off the record publicly, if you're meeting with anybody, if meeting with a member of us, I speak for myself and I believe everybody would feel free to involve us if you think a relationship with a sitting town administrator or the member of this board would be helpful in swaying one way or another. Feel free to use us any way you think necessary.
Yeah, definitely. Appreciate it.
And then obviously, as everything gets going, it'll be the staffing, right? Like, not only the dispatch staffing, but the, you know, we've talked about needing an accountant, a treasurer collector. Will it be part-time, full-time, remote,
Yeah.
on hand, you know, there's so many
Right.
concerning, well, you know, concerned in the sense of just so many pieces that come together.
Yeah.
With with the MOU, could you potentially have legal counsel draft up maybe a formalized list of everything? Or even you can do it like, because I just don't want to have one of us forget something and then us go, oh crap, we don't have retirements. Like,
Definitely.
Right, and depending on how many more communities join, if any,
Right.
will these positions be a part-time, full-time, days, evening, flags, you know?
Right. Yep. Yeah, because it's.
So I think we'll have a better idea once that October meeting, knowing how many more communities potentially will join.
Yeah, because as we get bigger, the need, personnel is gonna be.
we should probably set a January, February time frame to have a better understanding of where we stand. So that going into the budget season, people will know what the expectations are for their families and for their budgets and that kind of stuff. So.
Yep.
I think that, and that's a fair time frame as it gives us 6 months to
Yep.
toss around ideas.
Yeah, and then once we get these, if all 5 communities were to sign on and then the administrative board does agree to accept the, acceptance of these communities in, again, it's still gonna be a while, due to the fact that even, let's just say we went with the Auburn building, the soonest we can apply for that money for that building is not even until March. Those awards don't even go out until, the last week of June. And from there, we could probably do the RFP prior to that if we had some understanding if we were going to receive money or not. But do the RFP joint, like prior to the award, or we would have to start the RFP after the award, which would again push that time frame out even more. So we're not even, I wouldn't even see us operational with these 5 communities until not even next year, maybe 27 possibly.
We, obviously we talked about it, but just to say, we did have our ducks in a row, we had applied for, it, but since no one signed on, it was a little bit elsewhere. So we have to start the process over.
Just to give a time frame of being able to handle these communities, not for a while. So it's not tomorrow, we're gonna be moving and everybody's gonna be worried, so.
And Mike, who is Rutland still doing your financial stuff now, or
That's correct, so.
then they'll do it until everything's in order?
I
Like,
think
he's
it's
on
all
that in
that,
the MOU.
Yeah.
till June 30th or by mutual agreement to
Extend it.
extend it if need be, until we can get all those pieces completed on our end. And then I just forgot one other thing. So I know I did send it out in an email, but we did win the development award. We did win the development award this year. We did receive a little over $470,000 to replace the other half of our entire radio system with much needed technical channels that our operations boards need.
Speaking of awards, can you please take a moment to update the board on the award our distinguished colleague won?
Yes. So this year, the Director DeFosse was nominated and won the 2025 Leader of the Award for the Massachusetts Communications Supervisors Association. She's a true asset. Since she's been hired, she's had a lot of leaps and bounds and increased the morale within the department. Has helped me substantially with a lot of my projects that I'm moving forward. Without her, and we wouldn't be here right now. So I do appreciate everything she does.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your hard work and well yours and seems like working together. You two are, you know, hand in hand.
Doing it.
We appreciate it.
Making it.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Congratulations on the award.
Thank you.
If there's no further discussion, is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. All right, thank you. This meeting is adjourned.